What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90, and we've got a video for you today going over all of the transfers in. If you want to see the transfers out, whether people on loan, people permanently, my thoughts and opinions, there is a video on the channel. Again, make sure you go and check that out. This one, we're doing the transfers in. We're going to be doing a transfer so far in terms of a scale from 1 to 10. Let me know your thoughts of these. So we're going to go through of all these transfers. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think? What would you give each rating from a scale of 1 to 10? Again, some of these are very early on. So again, these are bound to change just in the same way they're doing predictions at this period of time. It's going to change. So the squad has finally, the transfer window is closed. And now we can look at what squad do we have? So at the moment, again, if you look here, 4 keepers, no real change here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the new players, but I'm going to go through them in order, I believe, in which they signed. So we'll go through that in a second. So again, in terms of defenders, Christensen was on loan last year, but he's still a technical player. Again, with part of our squad, Caleb Coley came in defenders-wise. Other than that, we didn't change too much. The only thing you could potentially add was Yannick Vestergaard, because again, he did sign a 3-year contract extension. Other than that, it's pretty much as expected. The only thing I would see, as probably as a lot of people have figured out, probably Ricardo Pereira needs to be kept in. I'll get into the squad. Then again, Wilfred Ndidi signed. El Canus was actually given the number 11 shirt, so it shows you what kind of role he'll play in the game. I'm going to go into him later. Skip being one of them, Michael Golding and Buonanotte being the other midfielders. As you can see, the attacking midfielder has been prioritized with compared to the likes of Skip for the rest of them. And then we'll go through, and then the attacking players, we added quite a few. So obviously Fatau came in. It is a bit of a weird one. I'm not going to include him in this because of what we've done. I might mention briefly at the end if I remember. And we'll go through this. Reed, Ayew, Edward as another player as well. So we've got quite a good amount of attacking options. Now let's go through them in order, talking about each of them, how they perform this season, because at the end of the day, we can only judge on what we've seen so far. Some of these players are super young and or haven't had any minutes because, let's face it, there's not been that many minutes. And I'll give you my thoughts and opinions on them. Let's get into the first one, which is going to be, I've lost it already. Come on, I was just moving it over. Mr. Bobby D. Cordova Reed. So I've gone up Surface Score just to looking at his profile. 31 years old. We've signed him on a 3-year contract now. As well, I believe the first signing we've made. I was surprised on how not physically was in terms of some of the challenges, etc. As you look from last season, if we go for the last 12 months, he's had a pretty decent performance at Fulham. And overall, again, hit 7s, 6s, 7s in terms of Surface Score. If we look at the Premier League for last year for him, some of that I didn't actually do in my little analysis, but because I didn't manage to do it. But overall, 6.65, giving an average score. Heat map for that season. Oh, hang on. Where he was played. Again, he was played mainly down the right. Now, for Leicester, because of Fatau has been, again, such a pivotal part of our squad, he's probably not going to play in this position, but he is backup. He's mainly being used on the left-hand side, but this was his heat map last season. As you can see, what's impressed me, because again, overall, I've not been entirely impressed with him. And I think he knows he's going to be a squad player, to be honest. He didn't start that strongly. He was okay. He was good, but he wasn't great. And at the Premier League level, you do need to be great. Maybe, again, I'll give him time. Let him bed into the squad. Let him see how he's worked. So that's, again, a lot what we covered kind of last year. I wanted to try and move it into this year and how he's performed, because he's played in majority of games so far. Let me see if I can find this one for this season and see how he's performed, because he's been mainly played off the left-hand side. But the season heat maps, there's barely anything there. But I'll show you it anyway. So as you can see, as attacking-wise, he's mainly played as a defensive kind of player. So this is where I could see him fitting into the team going forward. You know how we used to bring on Marco Brighton off at 60 minutes and Shinji Okazaki off at 60 minutes, and we used to kind of settle in? Because of what Christensen's got, Christensen has been, again, pretty good, almost like a new signing this season, but technically not a new signing, so we're not going to mention him here. We might mention him a little bit at the end. What Bobby does well, maybe not in the attacking third, but in the defensive He's really good, can lock down, knows his role, knows what he needs to do, and he's got quite a good relationship with Christensen. Again, there's not a lot of information here, so I don't want to touch on it too much. But he's used to kind of come off the bench, and that's how we saw it. We started to play the most fluid we've looked so far against Aston Villa. He didn't start the game. It was other players, which we'll talk about in a second. So Mavididi started the game in the left wing position. And then Jordan Ayew came in. So Jordan Ayew was playing. No, Mavididi didn't play. Jordan Ayew played on the left against Aston Villa. And then Jamie Vardy started up top. Then they kept Vardy on. Jordan Ayew came off, and they brought Mavididi in. Divock Origi came on later. And that's the position that I'd see he would play in the team. I can see him playing more in the cup games and as rotation. Now, he can play as a number 10. I think I watched an interview with Fulham when he was at Fulham, and he said his favourite position and his favourite position to play was a number 10. Now, am I going to see him play in this position? Probably not, unless there's a bit of an injury crisis. But he can play on the left, can play on the right. And some of these players that we've signed, and I'll probably go through them in a bit, they are all pretty versatile that can play in a number of positions. So with Reed, he can play as a number 10. He can play as a left wing, right wing. So overall, we've got the squad depth there. However, I've not been super impressed with him, to be perfectly honest with you. Is he a good player? I guess so. I think obviously his Premier League experience speaks for himself. You don't get that many Premier League experience if you're that bad a player. He's obviously a good player. Maybe he's just finding his way into the team. But what's great about this is stronger as a squad, and I'll probably come on to this towards the end. This is a stronger squad than we had the year we got promoted to Premier League in 14-15. And now the points deduction has been overruled for 22-23. That's going to hopefully help in our favour. Let's get into the next one as well. So, next one we have is Mr. Michael Golding. Now, Michael Golding is only young. He's not actually played any minutes for the first team. He's played a couple of matches for the under 21s. But if you noticed, because him and Will Alves were two, Will Alves we've been talking about for years, didn't really get an opportunity. But on this, Will Alves hasn't been included on the LCFC men's, but Michael Golding has. Now, when we talk about certain players, so for example, Buonanotte we'll talk about later, and Kanous we'll talk about later, as two players that will play in that number 10 position, what does that mean for Golding? And this could mean, first of all, that I was surprised that he didn't get loaned out. I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that if we had Buonanotte, we didn't get El Kanous, I would 100% say keep him, train him with the other 18s, and then build to go forward as one of their, because again, got him from Chelsea. He's one of their brightest academy prospects, and it was kind of an FFP deal where, again, we get a player from you for X amount of money, and then you get another player the other way to kind of save the transfer fee, or save on a transfer fee. I think he will be a good player, and there's genuinely a good player in there. However, we just don't want a Sammy Braybrook, not this year, but before, or Will Alves situation where they're hanging around. Yeah, maybe, and I know they had injuries last year. They were hanging around the squad, and they didn't really get any game time in the first team. He would be at a higher level, almost getting him back, and as weird as it sounds, taking him full time, but loaning him back to Chelsea to actually play some minutes under the under-23s. He's gone into our under-23s, and he's a really good talent. Scored, I think, a good goal. Can't remember where it was. Tried to look at the analytics and statistics around it, and there wasn't really anything that was there. Otherwise, we're looking at, again, 23, 24. But again, it doesn't give a good position, really. His position overall is, as a player, is attacking. And also he can play as a number 8 as well, which I thought was interesting. There's quite a few people vying for that number. If you account probably academy prospects like Golding and Braybrook, they could play a number 10 or a number 8. So it shows you that we are going to try and develop at least a few of them so far. So again, forgot to do the other one. And Bobby, I would give 6 out of 10. Golding, I'd give another 6 out of 10 already. Not because I think he's a 6 out of 10 player. I think is what we need at that moment. He came in and did a job. But I would love to see, again, if we gave him out on loan, we gave him some experience in the first team, maybe a League One loan or a low championship loan. I think I would have pushed it up to a 7 or 8 because I can see what we're doing with him. At this moment in time, now the transfer window is closed, I'm not sure what we're going to do, especially with Will Alves. not being loaned out, and staying in the under 21s as well. So both those again, 6 out of 10 for this moment in time. Next one we're going to go over to is a man that's made his debut quite recently, and that is going to be Caleb Okoli. So last season, looking over again, last season he just looking a bit over that. If I go to 20, if I go 24, 25, Syria. Overall, again, another similar solid position that he played. Again, he played everywhere. Looking at his heat map, he was playing on the left, he was playing on the right. He wasn't really played as a centre of a centre back. And you can see there's a lot of time in goal, but that's going to be a lot of the time due to defending corners, etc. But as you can see, he mainly played either in the back three, but he can either play left or right. But as you can see, he's pushing quite high. His interceptions, his reading of the game, which is quite good. And if you compare that to, let me see if I can find that one, another position against Syria. If we compare that, probably his strongest game, I think it was the only game that he really played, was against where's it gone? Was against Aston Villa. He did play in the cup against Tranmere, but I don't think it's worth judging him off that because he barely touched the ball because Tranmere didn't really offer too much going forward. He's played on the left of a back four, and as you can see, again, he's pushing up quite high. He's shortening the space because Aston Villa likes to shorten the space, so he's stepping up there. He had a really good tackle on John McGinn, I think, about 80 minutes in. I can see why we need a centre back, especially a left-footed centre back. I thought we'd start the back with a back three, but we've changed to a back four now, with kind of bombing fullbacks as JJ pushes up or Christensen pushes up. Hopefully, Ricardo's getting into the team. So yeah, I think as promised to this lad. I think that he's again. I've tried to look for other stats around him, but I think he was again. He substituted off for Casey McAteer for 80 minutes, but wasn't really too much there as well. Nothing too much to read in general, but I think with his size, his stature, I think he's built for the Premier League. I was a bit concerned in pre-season because I was like, he didn't really impress, but he seems to be improving time on time. So overall, this is only the beginning for him, and he will adapt into the team. I think we need a left-footed centre back, and I think he could partner another player quite well. He is the backup to Yannick Vestergaard if we're playing. I think if we're playing a lower team, so for example, Everton coming up in a couple of weeks' time. If we're playing against Everton, then sure, he can go over that left-sided position. If we're not, if we're playing the likes of or other kind of teams, I think in where we potentially have to be a little bit more of a battle, he will go for a Coley. And he might have like quicker defenders. If we're playing a possession style football, so against Everton, I think he'll go for Vestergaard. Overall, I give that a 7 out of 10 so far. I wasn't impressed in preseason, not gonna lie. I know he got the assist, it wasn't his goal, it wasn't his fault, but such is life. So far 2 6s, 1 7 already. The next one we've got. Let's go into this one. Buonanotte. I think he's been really good so far. I think he's been 8s, 9s out of 10. I think at times, especially the Tottenham game, he impressed me. He scored the goal. I think he's got an assist. He got a goal against Aston Villa. Pops in the right location, and it was great seeing him like giving the fists and really giving it some, even if he's here on loan. Bearing in mind this guy's getting into the Argentinian, sorry, the Brighton squad. He's getting into the Argentinian squad at the moment. So it shows you he's a good player. In terms of last season, let's see if we can find the Premier League and then last season, where he played and how many minutes he played. So he played 27 matches in total at 18 years old. He's got plenty of experience. And he played more or less off this kind of like attacking, but right-footed. He's right-footed, attacking right-hand side. As you notice, though, from his position stats, he was tracking back quite a lot. And it's something that I saw against Tottenham. He was the player that's really good, can take it in small positions on this left-hand side, but they can cut in and shoot towards goals. Because that's absolute bangers. How many did he score? Did he score a couple of goals last season? Goals 3. Yeah, goals overall. 1 goal every 459 minutes. Didn't really mean much as well. Didn't watch Brighton too much, too busy watching Leicester. But as you can see, played this quite well. And I think in that game, him and El Canous came on and did make a real impact in the game. What I'd give this overall, as a player, I'd give this 8 out of 10. As a transfer, if not, let's give it 8.5. As a transfer, I give it 6. You're probably wondering, why are you marking this down? That's not his fault. But as a signing, I want signings to come in and be here for the long term. He's only going to be here for the year, and I don't think we're going to pay 40 million that they're asking for. Brighton, especially since we've got El Canus, which we'll come on to later. As he's performed, I can't really fault him. He's been brilliant. He's been hardworking. He's bonded with the team. He's really good in tight spaces, and this kid is going places. Imagine he's older than Fatal by a year, but he's already got Premier League experience, which is great to see. I'm really happy with him, but I'm just not happy the fact that he's only here for the year. I thought we were past that. I think when we are as a squad, but I think the club kind of panicked when they realised Kindrewsby Hall was going, and they looked around. They looked at certain number 10. So Matt O'Reilly was looked at. I think Damsgaard was looked at. A couple of other players that we just let go to other clubs, or for whatever reason we didn't get them. We then decided, okay, we're going to try and do something a little bit in this zone. Am I happy with him? Absolutely. I think giving 8s and 9s out of 10. But the fact that he's only here for the year loan and then he's going back, which is basically training up a player. And let's be honest, Brighton are a team that we want to get to. But I think we just mentioned before, we panicked and we went, do you know what? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But the thing is, look, I'm happy with him. It's not his fault, the situation. It's more I blame the club rather than the player. And let's, again, give it this time next year. We might have signed him. I don't think we would. But again, he's here. He's hungry. He's willing. He's going to get the game time, depending on how Bilal plays as well. And then that's it. So again, I'm happy with that position. Next thing we've got is, again, Oliver Skipp. Now, this one, a 5-year deal he's penned since he signed. 116 appearances. Now he's up to 108 with Leicester's 2. So 100 caps, which I was surprised at. I didn't think he played that many games. I was speaking to, or I was either listening to a couple of podcasts, I can't remember, but Harry Winks and him work really well as a pairing. 25 million apparently is the going rate for a Premier League player, which I still think is expensive. We paid a lot for him. And if you've noticed, we've been linked to Skipp for, I want to say, a year now. Since we went into the Championship, only on loan, etc. The rumours started up in May, June time, once the Premier League finished and transfer window open. And it kind of like filtered out. And it was just one of those rumours. I thought, yeah, it's not going away. Then John Percy and Fabrizio Romano announced it. And this is actually happening. 25 mil is a lot. But why have we signed him? Because you think about it, Harry Winks is there, Wilfred Ndidi is there, you've got Hamza Chowdhury. I think he's an upgrade on Hamza Chowdhury, but I also think that Ndidi is great, but I think that Skipp offers you more alongside Winks if we're going to bound down the hatches. And also we need that transition and rotation players. Let's be honest, with the likes of Oliver Skipp, I've been really impressed with him. Has he torn up trees? Is he absolutely skilled pass players? No, but he's got hard work, he's got graft, and he's won a fight to teams in the Premier League. Also, if we get relegated, he will be one of the players that will stay and try and fight to get us back in the Premier League. Same with the manager as well. So, we're battling, we've got the right position, and I agree, again, we're going in the right direction. However, coming in the next few games, we're going to need points. Hopefully, so when we come into the Palace game or we come into the Aston Villa game, we would see him come in as a 2 alongside Harry Winks. And you've got Skipp and Winks together playing, again, as like a double pivot. His tackling is really good. His ability to get forward, I thought, was quite good against that. Let me see if I can bring in the latest performance against Villa. So he was substituted at 68 minutes when he was substituted for Bilal. Let me see if we can find that one on here. So again, he's substituted there. However, if we go to, we can't really get that bigger. I had one shot, I believe it was just a bit of a nothing shot anyway, occupying this left position, but coming back and helping the defense. I remember this was the position that he gave away the free kick. Bit of a 50-50 in my opinion, but I was happy with what I saw. He got a 7 in the game, which I don't disagree with. Again, 7 last year, 6.75 over last year. Again, good player, good all-rounder. It'll be interesting to see how we can play in a box. Do I think we're going to play with a box this year? I'm not sure. But it'll be interesting to see how we could play with a box midfield and how we could go and actually attack that. So, yeah, as a skip, have I done the last one? I can't remember if I did one or not. I gave 6 out of 10. Skip, I would give another 6 out of 10. Doesn't mean that he's a 6 out of 10 player. I just think we've overpaid for him personally. And I think that's a lot of money to play for, again, a good player, but a lot of money. And I really want to make sure that we are getting good players for that money. Bearing in mind, he's more expensive than another player. Sorry about that. El Canus, who we'll come on to later. But let's be maybe a bit harsh. 6, 7 out of 10. I think he's going to be a player that's going to be here for a long time. Again, signing a 5-year deal. Even El Canus only got 4 years. So a player that could be here for a while. I think we've signed him on that as well. So, yeah. I was surprised he's only 5'9", which is about average, but I thought he was a lot bigger than that. Anyway, still a good player. I'm hoping that he gets the best. So, yeah, good transfer. Next one we got in. So I'd say, yeah, 6.5, 7 out of 10. Jordan Ayew. When this was initially announced for 5 to 10 million, 5 to 6, 8 million, I think for me, a player, somebody that we're going to get on soon on the channel, hopefully, is Ali from Pride of South London Fan TV. He mentioned about Jordan Ayew, and it was interesting to see the Palace reaction where good servant to the club. I wish you all the best. Similar to how we saw Brighton if he was to move on to another club. You've had your time here. We appreciate all you've done for us, but again, you need to go and get regular game time. Brighton's hung his boots up, but Jordan Ayew's come in. And initially I was like, oh, are we kind of scraping the barrel for Premier League players? Then I saw him against Tranmere. He scored a rocket. Goalkeeper should have done better. And if that's a Premier League goalkeeper, I think that gets saved. But he was really hard working. He was tracking back. He was played on the left against Villa. And I thought he'd had a good game, to be honest with you. He was again in that high position. He was on that left-hand side. He was tracking runners. He was putting loads of tackles and blocks in. He was trying to defend for his life. And I think if we're going to get out of this mess, if we can't beat them, we're going to try and go, look, I want this more than you. And this was only bearing in mind, he's not had a preseason with us. He's not understood the tactics, but he understands the mission, what he's trying to do. And he exemplifies that. Will we see him playing every week? Probably not. Maybe cameo positions. We could see him start. I've got a feeling that Steve Cooper will want him to start and then Mavididi come off the bench. So Jordan and I can work them into the ground and Mavididi can come on just like he did against Tottenham and just make the defender run ragged. And then that position, you're really going to tire that fullback out to the point where the opposition manager will want to substitute him. So as a team player, I think he's great. 5 million, probably with 8 million with bonuses. But I imagine that's if we keep in the Premier League, he gets extra 3. So that's probably part of it. So I think that's another good signing. 2 years on the deal, I thought was a decent amount. We've given 3 before, and I think 2 years is a good deal. I'd be, again, depending on how he comes into his last year, I would be open to extending it by another year as well. But again, we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. For me, Jordan Ayew is a good transfer. I'd give that 7.5 out of 10. Initially, I was thinking like 5, 6 when at first of the news, and I saw him how I was like, okay, I get it now. Maybe the same effect that we had with Shinji Okazaki. From the outside, he goes, what does he really offer? He comes off over a bit. It might be that good, but it gives you that graft. It gives you that legs. It gives you the tackling, and it shows you really cares for the club. And that's all we asked for the year we got relegated from the Prem a couple of years ago. Players that care. And this year, with Skip, with Buonanotte, Jordan Ayew, them players care. And that was partly, in my opinion, on the manager and the ownership. But we've got players that actually want to battle and be here and not thinking about their next move after they get released on a free without naming too many names as well. So Jordan Ayew, I think, was as good. I think in the African combinations, just having a look at this, he was played 86 minutes as well. So again, they lost 1-0 to Angola. Don't think he had any shots or anything on target, assists or no goals. He had shots blocked, 1, but nothing really much there as well. Now, the last one that we've got, God, it's been a while since I've been talking. The penultimate one. Bilal El-Khanous. Now, for this team, again, he's got a rating of 7.3 over in Belgium. It's going to take a while for him to adapt. Again, 180, so about 6 foot 5'11", 6 foot tall, which is nice. Season heat map, again, he's played kind of on the left-hand side. He came on in the game. Morocco, did he assist? Did he? No, I don't think he got any goals or anything for Morocco, but he did play how many minutes against Morocco? I'll have to find that out. So Morocco got quite a strong team overall as well. So he plays on this left-hand side. He's the one that potentially, him or Fatawu, I was probably the most excited player of. He looks really promising. And some of the players we've signed so far, in the likes of Deco Reed, Skip, and then probably Ayu as well, bring a level of Premier League experience and a solidity that I think this team, we'll say it was lacking, but it brings a lot more solidity. I think that's going to drive us up the team, drive us up the table. Just to let you know, I think we finished 14th this season. Now we've got the points deduction up there. Hot take, but again, that's my thoughts. I'm really excited about Bilal. Buonanotte has looked great, but the fact he's only there for the year and they've gone, right, we're going to sign you, and we're also going to sign somebody else that's going to come in that position. That's going to be here for the long term, 4-year contract. I'm really excited about his signing. Really talented. One of the young Belgian players of the year, which I thought was really good. And I'm really happy with him. I give that one genuinely an 8 out of 10. I think there's room for improvement. My only thing is it may be the case because we saw him throw his toys out of the pram with Genk. I just don't want him to do the same here. Maybe that's why we didn't give a 5-year deal, they give a 4-year deal in case he does that. There's obviously the option extending. He wants to play Premier League football, and I think he's going to be a starter. But for every position now, we've got more than one option. So he's technical. Also, he can play as a number 8 as well. So I think that's interesting. The fact that we've got multiple people in this position that can play the number 8 if we need to, or come back and then drive forward into number 10 position. I think he played a really nice ball out to Christensen, which I'm really looking forward to him just kind of, if you watch his highlight reel, hopefully doing more of that. But the thing is, compared to the Juniper League, compared to other things, is Morocco, he won't have as much time on the ball. People be closing in, but I think he's got the physicality, height-wise, to really thrive in this league, and the technicality that was kind of missing that we needed. And lastly, player that we didn't manage to cover last time, but Odsonne Edouard has joined. Who would have thought he'd be this season? Nobody did. Until about 8 hours, 12 hours before the transfer window closed, we got linked to him because Palace wanted to let him go, and also we were letting Tom Cannon go on loan, so we were going to replace him. I think this is a shrewd signing. He's already, if you look at his video on YouTube or on any social media platform, he looks impressive in training. And I think he's just signed at a time when he's going to battle. We know we've been scouting him for a while. Under Brendan Rodgers, a lot more links with him. And then all of a sudden, the last day of the window, we load Tom Cannon out to get some experience on the road, and then we brought him in. I think he's a tidy player. I think he is Premier League, I wouldn't say Premier League ready, but I'd say he's a Premier League player. He's surprisingly tall. He's like 6'1", 6'2" as well. He's quite physical, can play quite well with opposition. And I think we've got a shrewd signing. Now, how do we fit? How do we fit in? Because Daka's out injured for the next few months, so he's not going to be playing any games. Tom Cannon's on loan, so the 3 options you've got up front: Jamie Vardy, who's going to play a number of minutes, only a few number of minutes. You've got Edouard, who I think, if we play him, will play 60 minutes or so, get subbed off for Vardy, and then the other way around. You know how last season we were substituting with Daka, and we were bringing him on after doing Daka for most of the game, pressing. His physicality is good, and I think the same thing with Edouard. And then we substitute him off, bringing Vardy for the last 50 minutes as a super sub, just to get the most out of him. And then Jordan Ayew. So that's our 3 striking options. Mavididi, I don't think is going to work. So I think until Daka's back, that's your 3 striking options. Number 1, Vardy. Number 2, Edouard. Number 3, Ayew. But Ayew's obviously going to play on the wing more times as we go through. So yes, that's a little bit of a rundown. I'd give him genuinely a 7 out of 10 signing. Did I do it for El-Khanous? El-Khanous, I gave it 8 out of 10. So overall, what do I think of this window? I think it's been a decent window. Considering the players we've got for the budget that we've got, I think we've done relatively well. Some players I believe we've overplayed for. Maybe that's because I still think that we're in the championship. Well, transfer windows what they were. Think about a few years ago when we played when we sold Shop to Crystal Palace for 12 million. I thought good deal. Now Skip is coming the other way for 25 mil. Swings and roundabouts. But yeah, the price of football is getting more and more expensive. So yeah, that's my little thoughts on the transfer window. I'd give it overall a 7 out of 10. It's probably reflected in the scores I gave. 7 out of 10. Good transfer window considering all the boundaries we had. Considering we had to sell, well, we didn't have to, but to get off FFP, Kindred Hall went, Kelechi Iheanacho left. All the people I've mentioned are on loan. All of that I think gives us probably 7, even 8 out of 10 window. I think we've done really well this window. My only problem is we left it too late. We should have got some of these deals done beforehand, but there was a lot of things to look for. Like Sule deal was hanging around for ages. Couple of deals were hanging around as well. So it was. So that's what I think overall. I'm happy. We've got Premier League quality. We've got battlers. We've got players that are going to be physical, and I'm really looking forward to the upcoming season. And after we come from international breaks, I think we ended the game against Villa really well. But can we continue the momentum? Because there's quite a few of those players, even there, that went on international duty. And B, we need points. Performances are one thing, points are another. Let's see if we can get that constant performance over a period of time. So, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you all in the next video. So, goodbye.